Waiting for it to tell me it's actually recording. So we'll stare and wait. There we go. All right. So, John, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Trace, dos, uno, go.
Good evening again, and welcome to another fizzled out edition of Post to Post Wrestling, your favorite fucking wrestling podcast out there. I'm your boy Drummer John, here with one half of the Brothers of Discussion, Will. We've also got the Weatherman with us as always, and our special guest celebrating his big 4-0. We got the Carolina bad boy, Corey Chappell, joining us again this week. What's going on, gentlemen? Happy birthday, Corey.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, buddy.
And thanks again for having me on. I love you guys.
Of course.
Anytime.
Happy birthday. I'm pretty lit
You
right
got to
now.
give me a little bit more warning before you come on, though. Although I'm not quite as high as I was the last time that we recorded. So we're good.
It's okay. Weatherman just like Weatherman just said, he's lit up enough to carry the torch for you, John.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Will hit me up for my birthday. He was like, hey, if you're not doing anything. And I was like, well, I'll be celebrating my birthday. But if I have some time, I definitely will try to get on. And I always try to make an exception for you guys.
There you go. Appreciate it.
Peach.
It always feels more humble when Pat Chappell's here.
It is nice. It is.
I bring out the good in everybody.
Weatherman loves him because Chappell knows how to do good mat work.
Right.
All right. So, goddamn, I know we want to dive straight into what happened over the weekend, but shit. We've got to bore you with some news first, because that's what we do. We start with the news and kind of bore you to tears, and then we try to lead up into the good stuff.
Do you really want to call it good stuff, though? That shit fizzled like my fucking intro.
It's going to be good when we talk about it. Shut the fuck up. Yes, the banter. It's back. All right. So, John, off the cuff, you want to give us just a wee bit of WWE talk for this week? A smidgen?
And we are set up for Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan taking place at Fastlane coming up in 2 weeks. Daniel Bryan beat Jey Uso to get that match. He beat him in a steel cage this week. Bobby Lashley faced off against The Miz. It's fucking weird because I was in the Thunderdome again. For anybody who watched, I was just right above Byron Saxton, a little bit to the his right or left, wearing a orange.
Hold on.
Weird because the director.
Hold on. You cut out for like a solid like second and a half. Right when you said Byron, what's his face or whatever the fuck it was.
Okay, I'm cutting in and out. Did you get where what was the last thing you heard?
You were right up to the
Right
left
behind-
of Byron, whatever the fuck.
Okay. I was up to the left of Byron Saxton wearing a orange Bray Wyatt friggin' tank top. But the director who was running it was weird. It's like he didn't know how to make us react to Bobby Lashley. Like they gave him new friggin' video and the shit looked really good and they're calling him the almighty champion. Like they're branding him really well into this champion role, and I hope he fucking maintains past WrestleMania. But they didn't know how to fucking direct us. 1 minute we're cheering him against The Miz, but then we're booing him when they show Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus had a fucking match that was awesome. They fucking went at it, man. They wound up double fucking metal stairs to the head. They each had the stairs above their head with their head like in the V shape, and they fucking both just run into each other and knock each other out at the end. It was
Like,
fucking awesome.
Can I just say I saw that on Twitter? It just looked really stupid to me.
I loved it. I thought it was fucking hysterical. It's just, two guys running around with trash cans on their heads running into each other. It was fucking awesome. But they had a really fucking weird promo with Shane McMahon. So Shane McMahon's about to work an angle with Braun Strowman, and they needed to turn Braun Strowman into a baby face. And the way that they did it is they had Shane McMahon come out and cut a promo with him where he was just basically calling him stupid over and over and over again. It was fucking weird. I'm just like, what the fuck? So baby faces are supposed to be stupid? Is that what's going on here? So, yeah. That's your WWE minute, folks. I ain't got fuck else.
I mean, all things considered, that's about how long WWE news should fucking last every week, because nothing good comes out of that place.
I normally have some good shit to talk about.
I saw the Alexa Bliss Randy Orton thing where they shut the power off and only 3 of the 4 went off, but that's standard with Kane anymore.
I saw that live one time where one of them didn't go off and only 3 of them went off in the ring. But luckily, it was like a promo interview before Unforgiven started, so it didn't.
Yeah,
didn't make air.
That was weird because they had Randy Orton spitting up black goo again.
Are they bringing back Papa Shango? Is that what it is? Because
I said that last week. I was like, oh, I hope so.
They're gonna bring back fucking The Fiend in some way, shape, or form, because they're setting up for a Fiend versus Randy Orton match at WrestleMania. There's a couple matches that are already confirmed for WrestleMania, and then there's a bunch that are just written on paper that they're not 100% on yet. Charlotte versus Asuka is one of them. Lashley versus another one.
Correction. Socially distant mania.
SD mania.
It's better than no fans mania.
Right.
No mania.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you. Every time I see the black goo spot, I'm like, that's a whole Papa Shango, the Ultimate Warrior, that whole shit. And I myself, I'm an old fuck. So I was actually Papa Shango for Halloween when I was a kid. So that's how hardcore of a fan I would love to see that brought back. Like, let's do Papa Shango and Bray Wyatt. It can work.
What about Papa Shango as a pimp?
Well, he's done that already.
That worked really well, actually. Got him into the Hall of Fame.
That's true. That's true. I remember they would advertise. They would advertise on our local rock radio station that when WWE, it was WWF at the time, was in town. They were looking for women to play hoes for. Oh yeah. And I always remember every time the commercial would come on, the advertisement would come on, like 106.5 when I was in high school. Man, it was crazy. Which was a low, like a. I think I can't remember. I think 106.5 is out of is it Greensboro? Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah. And back then, hearing those was just the coolest shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, you knew wrestling was coming to town, and it wasn't as easy as looking at your phone and knowing like a year ahead of time. Sometimes you didn't know till it really crept up on you.
Hose R Us.
Oh God. All right. I was counting stuff, but let's see. Yep. Let's see. In terms of WWE stuff, to circle back just a little bit to the Shane and Braun thing. The only thing I've seen related to that was Braun's post on Instagram saying that he's going to destroy Shane McMahon. He's going to tear him apart.
It was just stupid.
Yeah. So with that, since that's the end of that one, let's go ahead. We'll do things a little different. Instead of finishing up the evening with New Japan, we're going to go ahead and hit it now because we don't have a whole lot to talk about with New Japan. Mostly because, one, if you're going to watch a fucking New Japan tournament, you are already in for, let's see, if I ballpark it right now, since there's already been 11 matches across, 5 days, that's 15 hours of wrestling. 15 hours. That's a fairly sizable chunk of change to add in on top of everything else. So if you were to watch all of the cups so far, plus the 3+ hours of Revolution, plus the 2 fucking hours of what the fuck ever WWE calls that shit on Mondays, plus another 2 hours of NXT, so there's 4 more, another 2 hours of Dynamite from last week, and then probably 2 hours of fucking SmackDown. You're looking at an entire day and some change worth of wrestling. A full day's worth of investment. That's a half a week of work just watching wrestling. That's crazy. So, I've saved you the time. More or less. We made some quick predictions last week on the New Japan Cup and how it's panning out. If anyone who looks at the Facebook saw it, I posted the updated brackets with everything done in. So, as of right now, with our predictions, Grayson sits at 9 of 11 matches called correctly. Weatherman sits at 8 of 11. And myself and John, 7 of 11. So we're convenience stores. Grayson's a terror attack. Say what?
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. We're convenience stores, John. Grayson's a terror attack, and then Alex is just 8 and 11. I can't think of anything to go with that one. It's
I'm number 2 for change.
So, that being said, big takeaways. First, almost all of us, with the exception of Grayson, called Naito going over O-Khan on night 1. God damn it, if New Japan doesn't come through and actually push some talent, you think they're not going to. Like, I've been complaining about them not pushing O-Khan for a while now. And what do? They put him over the fucking former double champ.
That's big. That's real big. Yeah.
That's big shit. Naito's one of their golden boys now, in all honesty. The other big ones. Taichi's been on a hot streak, but they put Hiroki Goto over Taichi. I mean, that's cool. I like both of them, honestly. Grayson, again, is the only one to call that one. He called O-Khan, he called Goto. That's what put him ahead of everybody. The only other match Grayson only missed 2, so the only other 2 matches he missed, one of them all of us got wrong, which was the craziest one of them all, and I'll save that one for here in a moment. But the other one was Fale versus Yano.
Fuck Yano!
Yes. Yes.
Knew that was coming.
Yep, we all did. But only Alex called Yano for the win. Alex, would care to elaborate?
Yeah, very simply, you expect Yano to get through at least one round with some chicanery.
100% chicanery. 100%. Yano nonsense. To give you the quick recap, Yano brought out the infamous Yano athletic tape, and Fale intercepted, and Fale taped Yano to the ring post outside. Fale was going to roll back in and get it with the count out. Yano low-blowed him, and then managed to shimmy his way into the ring, still taped to the ring post, and avoid the count out and let Fale get counted out. So, Yano screwed over our boy, the Rogue General. Now, matches upcoming, starting pretty much, I believe, tomorrow. And for round one, the last of the round one matches are tomorrow, the 10th. We've got Owens versus Finlay, Yoshihashi versus the Tokyo Pimp, Toa Henare versus Jay White. That's all happening tomorrow, aka here in about 5 hours, maybe 6. But we already made predictions on those, so we're not really going to go too much into them. I think in the first match, all of us but Weatherman chose Chase Owens because, again, we went Bullet Club for life.
So we'll all get that one wrong.
Say what?
I said, so we'll all get that one wrong, except for Weatherman.
Who knows? I'm going to hope not, since Owens is the Texas heavyweight champ. We all chose the Tokyo Pimp, with the exception of Weatherman, who chose Yoshihashi. We all chose Jay White. So most likely, this will be the time, if things go the way they do to screw us Bullet Club lovers over, Weatherman's going to take the lead in terms of predictions here pretty soon. Or at least come really, really close to taking the lead. He might wind up tying with Grayson, while John and I both lag behind. But with that, let's go ahead and we'll quickly knock out the second set of the brackets, so the quarterfinals. So, who do you got, gentlemen? I'll throw Chappell in this, and I'll get Grayson's predictions later on. Chappell can join us on this one. Let me just do it the quick way. So, between Evil and Jeff Cobb, who's going over?
Ooh.
Evil.
Yeah, I will be choosing Evil as well.
I would want Jeff Cobb, but it's going to be Evil.
Okay. Chappell going that way.
I just like Jeff Cobb's work, man. I dig him.
I'm liking heel Jeff Cobb over there too.
Yeah,
I am. Weatherman.
I have to go Evil as well.
Okay. Evil sweeps over Cobb. All right.
Evil's riding the wave, man. Evil's riding the wave.
He is. But now to go with what you were saying, Chappell, Weatherman.
Doing it.
The thing. Thank you. To go with what you were saying there, Chappell, if one thing I mentioned before the show, I think it may have happened just before I got you added in, or you may have even been here for it. I don't know. Fucking time blurs together after a little while. The Empire, the faction Ospreay started with fucking Okan and Cobb, haven't lost, from what I've seen, unless I overlooked something, have not lost a single one of their exhibition tag matches or current bracket matches.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, because it seems like it's a setup for a push.
It really does. It really does. So it worries me to take to go that route, but I'm gonna lean Bullet Club forever and for life. So, we'll see what happens. But You're right. Evil has had a wave, and Cobb's having a wave. But if someone's going to go over on a wave, it's going to be Evil over Cobb.
I mean, how Evil got his ass beat for how long?
Oh God, fucking years.
And this right here, I mean, Jeff Cobb can win or lose. It's not going to hurt Jeff Cobb. No. But Evil is somebody who's had the shit beat out of him forever, and now he's riding this wave like where he's just hit this sort of, change in personality, and he's just, he's winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the first time ever, and he's over for it. So let's not end that right yet, because even if Jeff Cobb loses this match, he's not going to lose any steam.
No, you're right.
But Evil, that would kind of it's kind of like you remember back in the day. It's like when you saw Barry Horowitz, it's going to be a good match because he's just like one of the best enhancement talent ever.
Yes,
but he's going to lose.
Yep.
But then WWF tried at that one time to kind of push him, and it just kind of dropped the ball with it. let's not do that with evil.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Let's do it right. And not that I'm saying, I mean, evil's a good worker.
We want an evil that gets somewhere. We don't want an evil that becomes a Steven Regal.
Yeah, exactly.
So Steven Regal, fucking amazing, but never got his due because he was too good at putting people over.
Oh, I mean, fuck, he got fired for making Goldberg work, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I mean, shit. But let's keep this train of chugging along. Next match of the semis, the Great O'Khan versus Yano.
Great O'Khan. Fuck Yano. Fuck Yano.
I'm taking O'Khan as well.
I don't think Yano makes it that far, but O'Khan.
Okay.
Yeah, O'Khan.
All right. I don't see O'Khan falling for any of the fucking shenanigans that Yano puts on. It's a comedy wrestler versus like someone they're trying to make into a terror. It's not going to jive. Okay, next, a rematch from earlier never open weight matches. Goto versus Takagi. Shingo or Goto?
Shingo.
I myself am also leaning Shingo because he honestly hasn't had that belt for super long, and he needs to hold it for a while, in my opinion. Right. I mean, it's been a number of months since he won it, but in the grand scheme of things, he hasn't had one of those reigns like Goto or Ishii, etc., with the never open weight belt.
Right. That's probably, I have to do the same because, he's needing it to stay over.
Yeah. All right. What's your forecast there, Weatherman? John's in the car.
Goto.
Yeah, I put on my seatbelt. I just left the dispo.
I had a feeling. So you're going Goto?
That's why I was letting you guys talk. I'm like, keep fucking talking. I'm gonna mute you guys. Go in here and handle my business.
All right. So back before I made the seatbelt joke for as a timestamp for you there, Falcon. But Weatherman, what was it that you said? It sounded like Goto?
Goto, yeah.
Okay, Weatherman's going against the grain. Uh-oh. He's playing that Weatherman card. I know what he's up to.
Wild card, bitches.
Yeah. Going Charlie Day on us. Next one, Minoru Suzuki versus Kenta.
I'm just really fucking drunk right now. It's really starting to hit me now.
It's all good. You make it through best you can, buddy.
Kenta, baby.
Say what?
Kenta.
As much as I love Suzuki, I Bullet Club for Life, so I will be Kenta as well.
Kenta.
Oh,
Kenta on mine too.
Kenta, all the way.
Everyone going Kenta. Okay. Honestly, nothing will make you look stronger than going over clean over Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, fucking A.
I mean, motherfucker is scurry. So next, we've got Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr.
I'm going Ospreay.
Yeah, Ospreay all the way, baby.
Ospreay, John. Man.
I've never been a fan of Zack Sabre Jr. Like I don't know, and we've had this talk before. I don't know. I think it's boring. I've never been that big of a fan.
I love it.
I think Ospreay too, because the Empire's got to shine.
Yeah, he's the leader of the Empire. As much as I want to pick ZSJ because I prefer, I like that clash of styles when the two of them go out and go against one another, and it's always a good match. I'm going Ospreay as well.
You just have to. I don't see no other choice.
If the leader of that faction gets beat in the second round, it's going to hamper it no matter if you've got O'Khan going through or Well, we already said Cobb wasn't going to. So you got 3 members. If only one of them goes through and it's not the leader, you know they're not going to go much further.
For sure. Yeah.
Next, Blue Justice versus Sonata.
Sonata.
Yeah, of course. Sonata is definitely going to get the win over old Yuji Nagata, old Blue Justice.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, Blue Justice, he still work, but Sonata. You going Sonata as well, Chapel?
Yeah. Yeah, but I love Yuji, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, you kind of got to go with Sonata.
Oh, yeah. Weatherman, you
I
going with
agree.
Cold Skull?
I'm going with Sonata.
Cold Skull it is. All right. One thing I will say, I do wish Skull End didn't just look like he was sticking their nose in the armpit and actually got a real hook below that chin to make it look painful. Because sometimes it just looks like the only pain from that is just the smell of the armpit.
The poison pit.
Yeah, the poison pit. Who was it that fucking had that as a damn finisher back in the day? Or near finisher, kind of like trademark special maneuver.
There was a couple people used it. I think the Brooklyn Brawler was one of them. I can't remember who the hell else it was, but I distinctly seeing them putting people into their armpit. I want to say it was a tag team, like the Headbangers.
Well, Nasty Boys did it. You know.
That's it, the Nasty Boys.
I guess. Classic. Downside, since the other matches don't happen until tomorrow, we can't predict on the next set. But, I mean, most likely it'll be Jay White versus Tanahashi, and I'm going to go Jay White because, I mean, fuck, I don't want to see Tanahashi win all the damn time. The other ones are still kind of up in the air, so they happen tomorrow, and then the matches for those happen Monday. So on the 15th, the second round for that bottom bracket happens. So we won't be able to make any true predictions on that one. So we'll stop with this batch here, which go through Sunday, and we'll call it like that. So far, in all honesty, none of our brackets are truly busted because we haven't fucked up entirely. That's good. That's the one thing. New Japan, they're hard as shit to predict because, one, they play it like real sports, and they are smart enough to play an underdog from time to time. They don't
fucking Yano!
Except for fucking Yano. For some reason, they love him.
No.
They love him.
Fuck
John
him.
does not. John wants to have his man babies, but John doesn't love him.
Fuck no.
John would drink Yano's bathwater, but he doesn't love him.
Gross.
I knew I'd get you eventually. But anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the evening. Because goddamn, if AEW wasn't throwing fucking everything at us last week in the grand scheme of things and into tomorrow night. So, some shit to start off with before we dive into Revolution proper. 1, last week's Dynamite. Standout moment for me, Shaq going through tables.
Yeah.
I never thought in a million years Shaq's agents would allow him to go through some fucking tables.
I'm sure he had everything to do with that.
Oh, 100%. Shaq's like, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm not gonna look like a pussy.
Of course not. But they kept cutting it out of the replays. But after Cody hit him, you could see Cody taking his head down, talking to Shaq.
Oh yeah,
and
just give the pat on the back.
Shaq pat him on the back, and I was like, "Yeah, he's good."
Yeah, that's fine. I saw the same thing as soon as I saw it tap him on the back. I was like, "Yeah, Shaq's fine."
Yeah, I called it to my wife. Me and my wife were watching it, and I was like, "Oh, Shaq's good. Shaq's good." He gave him the okay.
I mean,
I knew he was good as soon as I saw Tony Schiavone let him out of the ambulance.
Where'd Shaq go? He disappeared. How do you lose a 7-foot tall
Big
monster of a man?
He dwarfed the shit out of Cody. He looked like Dustin Rhodes' figure against Cody Rhodes' figure.
He worked like, in all honesty, he worked like Andre.
I'm gonna say he worked
they
mid-career
totally worked
Andre.
around him being a giant. That was the whole point. Because honestly, the worst thing about it was that lockup. That was the worst lockup I'd ever seen.
It was bad because one, Shaq is in wrestling terms green as fuck.
He's huge and he's not as fluent as everybody. I mean, you know, but he's a lockup. He's an athlete. He's trying. Yeah. But I mean, overall, playing him off like a giant worked. Cody did a really good job, I thought. What's the other girl's name? The girl.
Jade Cargill.
I thought Jade Cargill looked good.
Yeah, Jade did
better than what I expected.
I don't know. She did a really shitty pump kick. Her and
it did.
They had a few
when she kicked
They had a few
Red Velvet.
Yeah, Red Velvet I think Red Velvet looked more fluent than Jade did.
Yeah,
like Jade looked a little awkward and stiff in a lot of moments, but given their the next time they meet, you know, maybe better. I don't know, but that little bit, it looked like Red Velvet was just doing way better.
Yeah,
than she was.
I really think Red Velvet's had more ring time than Jade has as of late. Jade really hadn't done much other than talk shit.
That was her first match.
Right. Yeah. So I guarantee you, I mean, I don't know her career prior to AEW, if any.
Right. Basketball.
What?
Basketball. She was a college basketball standout.
Okay, so she never did wrestling beforehand. This is like her first go
From
around.
what I understand, yes.
Okay.
She was on WWE's radar, but they never signed her. They were looking at her for NXT. They didn't sign her, so AEW did.
Got you. That's what it is. It's just a matter of
that makes a lot more sense. And with that being said, she was still athletic and looked pretty decent. I didn't hate what she did, but she looked a little more amateur than what Red Velvet did.
Yeah, outside of some miscues, she did a good job for her first outing.
Yeah, she did a good job for her first time, but you could tell she's not as fluent at it yet. And that was my biggest gripe about it. But at the same time, I wasn't super negative about it. Overall, I was entertained with the match.
It was a better match than I thought it was going to be. But yet again, I mean, even though Jade got the win, which if they had fucked up and given it to Cody's team, it would have been a death knell to Jade's whole push.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Sure.
But it was a Cody vanity match.
What's all Cody has?
Cody's been losing a lot of fucking matches lately.
But
he looks like $1 million. I mean, you know, he really has good spots. Yeah. You know, that whole like it's like that. He's always like that baby face that's always in a bad situation all the time, and he's fighting back. You know, that's sort of his MO for everything.
I know, but it's getting a bit tired for me. It's just like every match he's in, you can definitely tell it's one of his ideas, and
the only thing you can do with Cody right now is turn him heel.
Yeah,
and he be like dye the hair back dark, fucking be heel.
Dark hair Cody.
I hate the neck tattoo.
I do too, but dark hair Cody performs better
about
than
that now.
Cody.
Yeah, there ain't no turning back from that shit.
No,
but I mean, with everything that we saw, you know, and I'm gonna jump to another topic with the Tully and FTR and Sean Spears thing. You know, we speculated a long time ago about a Four Horsemen faction. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of having two separate Four Horsemen factions, one by Arn, one by Tully, and have them fucking go to war. So I don't know. I mean, turn fucking Cody against the Nightmare Family and have him be, that Ric Flair member of the fucking Four Horsemen, or the rumors about Nick Aldis taking that role.
Now, we all know Will doesn't want that to happen.
I mean, let's put it this way. One, Nick Aldis is the most flair motherfucker in the game right now without being comically over the top.
Right.
Two, Nick Aldis has the chops to pull it off. Three, fuck that guy. Motherfucker hasn't done a damn thing other than a couple shitty matches on that weird ass NWA. Hey, you got to pay to watch it shit they tried to do back in like late summer, early fall.
Yeah, that failed, and they're gonna do again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go from free to pay like that. You have to either
delivering something with some substance. They don't have anyone fucking left on their roster.
No,
Who the fuck is going to pay to see fucking Elijah Burke and Trevor Murdoch?
And then they added, they like picked up two guys that they listed for their new thing, Crimson and some other motherfucker I've never heard of. I mean,
the guy who tag teams with Crimson?
I guess so. I don't fucking know. To
Big
me,
fucking dude.
I don't know. Again, it was on it was on their fucking Facebook page, and I don't remember what it is. And
because Crimson had a tag team with another fucking dude, and they were very reminiscent of the Road Warriors. In fact, Road Warrior Animal managed them for a hot minute.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay.
It was a shorter, fucking stocky, big motherfucker.
All right. Slice Boogie.
That is definitely not him.
Yeah, Slice Boogie. He is a stocky, big-looking guy, but Crimson and Slice Boogie are going to Slice Boogie debuts at Back for the Attack, and Crimson returns at Back for the Attack. But honestly, like, I loved what NWA was doing. We all did. But COVID fucked them. It really did. It fucked them hard because they didn't try to do anything after other promotions were figuring out ways to like get around it and being fairly safe about it. NWA did not try truly to get anything going. And so you saw a mass exodus of their best names. I mean, Thunder Rosa's basically with AEW, even though she's not. Basically.
Right.
I mean,
he's already getting a push.
Yeah, I'm fucking stoked every time she's on there, whether she does something or not.
I love her theme music. As soon as I hear it, I'm like, man, it's metal.
I hope she gets a badass T-shirt pretty soon because I'll fucking buy one. Right. 2, Ricky Starks dipped out. Ricky Starks, I thought he was a little goofy in NWA, but motherfucker could cut a promo. His ring work was solid. He got rid of those stupid fucking chains that were dangling off his trunks in NWA. Now they're printed on the trunks, so good. But he came to AEW, and he's doing great in the grand scheme of things. Is he getting like the crazy pushes he was over there? Probably not, but he's fucking damn near a main eventer, and he's doing like quite well. He's in the public eye.
Well, first of all, if I was Ricky Starks and I just worked Sting on a pay-per-view, I would be pretty fucking stoked. I would know that. Because, I mean, knowing where Ricky Starks has been over at least the past 2 years and seeing where he is now, it's like, people can say what they want. They will be like, oh, Sting's just an old guy they've brought back or whatnot. Sting's still looking pretty decent.
I mean, Sting didn't really do much wrestling in the cinematic. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But I'm saying, like,
motherfucker, 60 years old.
Got to work him. Ricky looked good in the spots that they did, I thought. But, Ricky, I like Ricky better now than I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought Ricky had all the tools, but I just couldn't like Ricky.
In NWA, he still seemed a little too, I mean, even though he wasn't really green, he still seemed kind of fresh, like too new. He didn't quite know his shit. And then when he hit AEW, he managed to fall in with the perfect crowd to really sell like his best qualities.
Yeah, he's excelling a lot better now, from my point of view of how I thought about him for forever. Like now, he's doing stuff that I'm catching now, and I'm like, yeah, Ricky's a lot better than I thought he was. You know,
Yeah.
I always thought he was great. I thought he had all
Well,
the
you knew.
What's that?
I was going to say, you knew in NWA that was a star in the making. Like,
Oh, yeah.
You knew.
He had a
Him,
look. He had charisma. He had everything. He just had his gimmick was a little weird.
yeah,
You know what
it
I mean?
You
was.
just didn't know if you wanted to fight him or fuck him.
Exactly.
That was the issue I was having. I'm like, damn, he's pretty. Fuck, I hate this dude. What do I want to do?
Oh, Jesus. The other thing, just to circle back, because I don't want to get us too far down the NWA rabbit hole. I mean, like I was saying, they lost all their major talent. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they seem to be fucked no matter what they're doing, because they're bringing back Power, but you got to pay a fucking subscription on like Bleacher or Fight TV to watch it now instead of
Fight
being
TV.
free. Fight TV?
Yeah.
Okay. But instead of it being free on YouTube, I mean, fuck. Do 2 shows. You can do a free one. Maybe not make it as good as the one you paid for, but at least give some people something to watch. For free, it's going to get you over a little more than.
We got to build up to a pay-per-view. What's the point of buying a pay-per-view or buying any show if we don't know the build-up for it?
Exactly.
We've not seen any shows.
Exactly. There's a disconnect, and it's not looking good for them. So, one, to bring it back to where John was talking about the Aldis rumor, that lends credence to it. But knowing all of Aldis's talk in the past, I'll believe it when I see it. And that smarmy fuckhead has basically, he's had that belt for so long, I think it has grafted itself onto him. Like, he would die if it was removed. You know, you ever watch that movie Guyver when they start peeling the suit off of him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like that. All the stretchy goop and skin bits coming off and everything. Yeah. Fuck it, it's some goddamn Cronenberg shit. But fucking on we go. Still, back to the FTR thing, which brought us to all this. One, it really seems like they are for sure, even though they said they weren't, bringing out JJ. Tully, Arn popping out, all of them throwing up the fucking sign. It seems like they have finally come to an agreement that they're going to resurrect the 4 Horsemen thing, regardless of what they say.
You know why? You know why?
Why?
Because we were fucking asking about Shawn Spears last week.
I know.
They
that's the first thing I said. Like, brought him back.
And they're like, fucking, dude, these guys are wondering where Shawn Spears is. We got to bring him out. We got to do this fucking thing. We need to move it along because fucking Post to Post said so. I know you fucking listened, Tony Khan.
How many weeks in a row have we just randomly talked about someone and they fucking show up? Or some bullshit like that.
Too much to be fucking coincidence.
It's weird, man.
Yeah, we got 75 great fucking listeners, man. I love every fucking one of you. But one of y'all motherfuckers out there working for AEW. And that's cool. But, we want tickets.
We ain't got to pay us. Son.
You ain't got that. We just a little kickback. Show us some love in the form of tickets.
That's yes. Wouldn't it be nice? All right, now, since we got last week's Dynamite out of the way, because those are the 2 main things that really, really stand out. Those 2 things. Everything else about last week's Dynamite was just build up for this weekend because it's the go-home show. There's nothing else to really talk about. Everything led up to Sunday night. Talk about all the hype for every match. Hype for the ladder match. They got that last contestant in. The mystery contestant. Oh, yeah. Fuck. I guess I should have put him on the list earlier.
I was happy about that, though. I was happy about who it was.
I'm going to go ahead and say I don't know who in the fuck he is.
He was over at Impact. He was the guy who was Karate Man and fought and killed himself.
Yeah, you're right. Now I know. Shit. Okay.
But all ego Ethan Page was the mystery person. I didn't like the way Tony Khan kind of shortcoming his arrival. Oh, that one's just kind of funny or gimmicky or whatever the fuck it was that Tony Khan said. If I was Ethan Page, I would have been fucking offended by that because I'm a big fucking fan. I'm a fucking all ego, you know. Oh. And you're gonna downplay me as a fucking joke.
I mean, when did Tony Khan say that?
In an interview when he was talking about there being 2 people that were going to be there at Revolution. And he said that Christian, the other one who turned out to be Christian Cage, is one of his favorite wrestlers. But the other one for the ladder match, well, that's just kind of fun, is how he said it. But man, if I was Ethan Page, I'd be like, motherfucker, fuck your money. Guess what? I'm going to NXT. Kiss my ass.
God, don't go to NXT. But anyway, I love NXT compared to every other WWE product.
Especially since they're moving to Tuesdays now. That is confirmed.
Yes, let's go ahead and call it NXT's Tuesday Night Titans so I can keep making that reference.
Right.
Because I love it. Now, going to our predictions for Revolution. We didn't have a lot of things on hand beforehand because when we made these predictions, Shida still didn't have her opponent yet because we made these last Tuesday. It was before Nyla got her loss against, was it Mizunami?
Mizunami.
Yeah, Mizunami. So here it is. Out of the 8 matches, pretty much for Revolution, John batted 50%. 4 of 8. You missed out on the Tag Team Battle Royal. The Kip tag
Yeah, because we
match.
didn't know the fucking Death Triangle was even in it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't know Death Triangle was in it.
Yeah, we did. Death Triangle wasn't the surprise.
In the Tag Team Turmoil match. The Tag Team Casino Battle Royal.
I'm about sure we did.
They did not have them announced for that match.
I don't know. We'll have to. I really don't know. Who remind me who all was in it again? Because we got Dark Order.
They added like 6 teams to it after our fucking podcast. They added Pretty Picture, which nobody even know who the fuck that was because they never announced that team name for Pretty Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. But they added them to the match. They added Dark Order members 5 and 10. They added a bunch more. But they did all that shit afterwards. And Death Triangle was one of the ones that they added.
I'm trying to figure out then who I wrote down because I've just got.
I put Dark Order. You did PP?
Yeah.
That was Christ. Proud and Powerful. You did.
There it is. Yeah, that's what it was. I was thinking it was either that or we did know about them and I fucked up and misspelled Phoenix. I did Pac and Phoenix because that would have also made sense. So I was trying my damnedest to remember who it was and I couldn't. So I changed that.
Me and Grayson did Dark Order. You did Proud and Powerful.
Actually, all 3 of you guys, Weatherman, Grayson, and you, did a Dark Order call.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one that did not. So you were bad. You bat 50%. Weatherman got 3 of 8 out of our predictions. Because other than that, let's see. We all got the ladder match wrong because again, the ladder match was just full of fucking weirdos. That 3 of us had called for the surprise or Cody. John just straight up called Cody. None of us got that. Grayson and myself got the Kip and Miro win. We all called Hangman's match. John and Grayson got the Bucks win. None of us got Shida because we didn't know who the TBD was, so we assumed that they would get the push. We all got Sting and Darby right.
On that one, if it was Nyla, I would have gone Nyla. If we knew it was Rio Mizunami, I would have gone with Shida, because I don't see them taking the belt off of Shida to give it to another international performer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
At
we
least
all
Shida
assumed
lives
it was gonna be
stateside. Rio Mizunami doesn't. And then we were also surprised with Maki Ito showing up in the pre-show.
Yeah, and she did the run in after the women's match.
Yep.
Her and Nyla and Britt Baker are basically a nasty little team right now, and
they set up a 6-woman tag match for tomorrow night that was originally supposed to be Maki Ito, Dr. Britt Baker, and Rebel versus Shida, Rio, and Thunder Rosa. But they're saying that Rebel is too injured to compete in that match, so they're replacing her with Nyla.
Yeah.
Either way, that match is going to. I think that match has potential. Weatherman, what do you think? You still alive? You pass out? Give it a second. Okay, we'll continue forward. I think he's asleep. Falcon will cut.
I don't give a shit.
There it is. Yeah. That took me back to the days of West. Oh, love it. Okay. But anyway, other than that, Weatherman got 3 of 8 correct. Grayson got 5 of 8 correct. And then I got 50% as well. So somehow Grayson has managed to be more on the nose with these calls than any of us. He's got the knack, gentlemen. He's got the knack. But so Ethan Page was one of the big arrivals from Revolution. The other big one happening
was Maki Ito.
No, it wasn't Maki Ito. Jesus.
It was for me.
Well, of course for you. But it was damn near everyone's other favorite Brood member, Christian.
Cage. Christian Cage.
We got to add the second part because WWE will get grumpy if you don't.
Yeah, he was Christian Cage before he come to WWF. WWF, WWE.
Yeah.
So he could, he should still be able to rock that. So that, I mean, for Christ's sakes, he's honestly one of the best workers in the past 20 years. Like, he's such a good put over guy. You know what I mean? Like, WWE would have never pushed him to be a top guy, but he was like one of the hardest working dudes. I mean, Steve Austin even said in his book that Christian was that guy who was like the first guy there and the last guy to leave. You know what I mean? He was that type of guy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it still shows today. I mean, even now, he looked pretty good in the Rumble. I thought he did.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the craziest part, though. I mean, he
was one of the last 4 in the Rumble.
But the fact he was just all of what the Rumble was like, a fucking month and a half.
Yep.
Well, Bret Hart was in the Hall of Fame, and then the next, before you know it, he's like presenting the AEW title on live television.
I know, it's crazy. It's like WWE shit the fucking bed again. Like,
oh yeah.
They probably wanted, I mean, other than what John was saying before we got on air, which I'll let him cover here in a second. I'm going to give my opinion. My opinion is that WWE didn't want to pay him what he's actually worth.
Right.
They wanted to get something for nothing, and he wasn't having it. Right. I mean,
that's not what went down.
I know it's not what fucking went down. We had the conversation already. I'm telling my opinion, you piece of garbage. Let me talk.
You're just trying to downtrodden the WWE name more by throwing this shit out there.
And I'm not wrong.
God, shit.
Fuck them.
He wanted to be more of an active wrestler than they wanted him to be. He wanted to be on TV more. He wanted to wrestle more. Wanted to be more of an active wrestler, and they didn't want him in that kind of capacity, the amount that he wanted. So, in conversations that he had with Paul White, who just signed over to AEW, and Jon Moxley, they convinced him to at least look into it. So he placed a call to Tony Khan, And all this shit came together just within the last week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after WWE shit fell through, he wasn't looking anywhere else. Then Paul White talked to him. Mox talked to him. He gave Tony Khan a call. Tony Khan and him worked it out, and boom, there he was. But that shit came together really quick.
Yeah. I mean, when they were talking about it, I never in a million years would have guessed it was going to be him. Never in a million years.
I kind of did because of the exposure of the Rumble, because people have done that before where they get that little exposure on WWE and then all of a sudden they're somewhere else. You know what I mean? They've got that one little bit of exposure that's given them another little run. And like, I'm glad to see Christian in AEW, because if we were seeing him in WWE, he would be putting talent over, but it would be like pitiful and sad as to where that's not going to happen here. You're going to see solid, good matches, and he's still going to put younger talent over, I think.
He outworks everyone.
And the fucking shirt says it.
Yeah.
And if you can't believe a T-shirt, what can you believe?
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's just going to lose to everybody. I'm saying there's going to be some good. I think there'll be some good story. There'll be some good matches. But overall, the point is to put over the new talent.
Now, he didn't have any medical clearance issues, did he?
Not sure.
No, there was no medical issues there.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was just Edge that had the medical things, or if Christian also had some as well. So I wanted to double check on that one. But yeah, I'm glad to see what comes of this. And then secondly, just to circle back to Paul White and last week and him chit-chatting, are we going to see Paul White versus Shaq finally?
Probably.
Yeah, because it was an idea that WWE shit canned, so of course AEW is going to fucking use it.
Yeah, why not? Fucking give the people what they want, even though sometimes the people don't know what they fucking want. And I think that's exactly where Weatherman holds true. The people don't know what they fucking want, but Weatherman knows what they need. And it's good wrestling. And I agree, they need good wrestling. And sometimes AEW does shit the bed. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, unless Weatherman wants to add to that, because I kind of want to hear it. Wait for it.
It is what it is. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Oh, that wasn't as exciting as I'd hoped. But that's okay.
It's going to happen. I mean, they're going to take that idea that Vince didn't want, and they're going to run with it. And either it's going to be awesome, and they're going to be like, hey, you fucked up and missed out, Vince, or it's going to sink like a fucking lead weight, and Vince is going to go, I told you it wasn't good shit.
Well, I mean, if history tells us anything, usually when you've got two giant guys working each other, it sounds good on paper, but it never truly works. Now, if you throw a guy in there who is not seasoned in being a pro wrestler and who's also a giant against somebody who is, but still he's a slow moving giant, I don't think it's going to be exciting at all.
No.
I mean, there might be some good slams, but overall, we're not going to get a good match.
No,
we're going to get a slow match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even take it if they did a tag match with them and someone else.
Yeah.
Put Paul White and Christian against Shaq and someone fucking else.
Right, for sure.
Shaq can work an Andre match. That's about it.
It's true.
But he didn't go over the top rope. I was pissed about that. I wanted to see him step over the top rope. Did not happen.
I don't think Shaq has the flexibility to do that anymore. But let's go to our other favorite subject from Revolution. The Donut of Glory. The brass ring.
I used to have to sit on one of those when my hemorrhoids got bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The seat
That's
pillow.
exactly what I thought when I saw it.
They're so, like, I was talking with Weatherman, like, we were all talking in the chat, like, on Facebook earlier today, and there are so many different things they could have used other than a giant fucking Sonic the Hedgehog ring.
Right.
So many things.
Totally agree.
Like, I mean, one, if you don't want to go the briefcase route, don't fucking do it. It's been done to death. Don't. Fucking go back to the old school duffel bag. That hasn't been done in forever.
Clipboard,
duffel bag, a fucking plastic cutout of the TNT belt. I don't give a shit. But the hemorrhoid pillow, Sonic the Hedgehog ring, Donut of Glory doesn't jive. It doesn't. It looks fucking stupid.
Right. I agree.
And honestly, they needed a quick release clip because that was some slow fucking anticlimactic removal.
Yeah, it was, and it had multiple clips. It looked like there were multiple D rings, and if I were on that ladder, I wouldn't have known which one to fucking take off.
Yeah, it was wild. They had one of the heavy duty like pop link ones, with the little spring loaded arm, and then they had the like climbing style silver D ring on the ring itself. So he removed the harder to remove one instead of just pressing in the spring loaded lever on the black one and then sliding the silver off. He did it the hard way, but it still needed
painted the little ropes gold that went around it.
Yeah, it needed a breakaway is what it needed, and it didn't have one. So it really killed the momentum of that reveal. Although, all things considered, with the exception of something I'll let you talk about, John, and I think you know exactly what I mean. It wasn't a terrible ladder match, but it was a spot fest more than anything.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of good spots in that match. Watch Scorpio Sky going onto the ladder outside the ring. Yep. That was a good one. I mean, there was a lot of good spots on there. I liked when Cody extended the hand to Ethan Page, and Ethan Page knocked the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was one of my favorite points of the match.
I know some of Lance Archer's choke slams looked real rough.
They looked really rough, but
I mean that was a good thing. I'm not saying it negatively.
It's good rough.
If I was the guy taking the choke slam, I would want to take it that way. You know what I mean? I really put that move over well for him. And am I the only one here who thinks that babyface Lance Archer sucks? Can we not get back to? Can we not make him the monster he needs to be, please?
Yeah.
I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of this.
Yeah, he sucks as a baby face.
Yeah, 100%. Stop baby facing this dude. He is not a baby face. Fucking
especially when you put him with Jake
like
the Snake Roberts.
I know.
Jake is fucking evil incarnate. I mean,
exactly. I've told y'all my Jake story. Y'all know how I feel about Jake Roberts.
Oh yeah.
So use that advantage. Use that advantage, and it's like as soon as he lost to Cody, it's like they took the steam right out of him. Nothing against Brody Lee because I love Brody Lee, but that he squash matched to Brody Lee right afterwards, and I thought, what does that say about Lance Archer after you have this epic sort of match with him, and then you win? And then you get squashed by Brody Lee, like the very next match. That's kind of stupid. That kind of pissed on Lance for me. I was like, that just sucks. You can't. And then now he's in this babyface spot, and it just fucking sucks.
He's languishing as a babyface. It's like they're trying their damnedest to keep him around, but
yeah.
It's a weird baby face, though, because he still comes out and fucking decks random people. He came out at the beginning of the match when they introduced him, and he fucking nailed someone at ringside and just kept fucking going, and yet still, it's almost like the anti-hero Stone Cold.
They're trying to do the cool heel.
He's in limbo.
Not working. It is not working. He needs to be a straight monster.
He would not be good at limbo, Weatherman. He's too tall.
I mean, him and Ray Phoenix had one hell of a singles match, I thought.
Yeah, they did.
And then I was like, and then they fist bumped afterwards or whatever. was pretty funny. But it just didn't work. You know, they had to, right before that match, they had to build some sort of tension, like some sort of quick tension in that promo, and that was it. You know what I mean? It's like that's what they need.
I think he was the worst partner he ever had.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a weird promo.
It was a stupid
making
promo.
Alex Marvez translate.
Stupid promo to get heat off of. It just wasn't right. It wasn't the right kind of heat, and it's just like you should even have. I mean, I know they've been tagging and all this shit here lately. Everybody's been teaming up, fucking. But I hate babyface Lance Archer. Just make him the straight heel monster he needs to be. Please.
They need to go back to him coming out carrying fucking people on his shoulders and beating the shit out of people out to the ring. That's what they need to go back to with him.
I agree.
I think he needs a good, just like the nastiest handicap match against a bunch of faces just to crush him. Like,
him versus the Varsity Blondes.
Him versus fucking 3 or 4 different like dark tag teams. Him versus fucking any bitch ass tag team on Dark, honestly. Like the Varsity Blondes. He can beat the shit out of Peter Avalon because everyone's gonna love that.
But Caesar Bononi would because Bononi's big. Bononi would give him a run.
But I mean, he's with Peter Avalon, so automatically his cred is
he's dark material.
Yeah. Him being backed by Peter Avalon's kind of ruined it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Eventually, I guarantee you, he's probably going to turn on Avalon.
You want to build some clout with him? Have him do a handicap against fucking Bear Country.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
those are two big burly fucking boys.
I am liking Bear Country.
That would be some brutal shit. I would love to see that. But at the same time, it's like you kind of want Bear Country to be. They're not there yet, but they could be the next monster tag team.
They could.
Absolutely. Everyone sees potential in them. They are getting wins on Dark now, so they're not just a jobber tag team anymore. Yeah, dude.
Well, so,
I don't think it's a great idea.
But the Bucks ego won't allow it.
Oh,
it definitely wouldn't be a good idea to have them lose a handicap match to one dude, even if it is Lance Archer. You know what I'm saying?
True. And
that definitely take the piss out of them, and they don't need that.
No,
because they are.
But the Bucks ego won't allow Bear Country to go over.
Well, they've got it, and they've just not got there yet. But they have it. They have the capability to be the next. Like if they just sort of change. I mean, if they go like just brutal heel, my God. Can you imagine?
If Bear Country went heel, it'd be nasty. Now, to circle back to what Weatherman just said, I both agree and disagree with it. One, the Bucks ego won't allow it. Kinda.
I don't agree. The Bucks took a loss to Private Party in the opening fucking round of the tag team tournament.
Yeah.
That took a lot of fucking putting ego to the side to make that shit happen.
That's why I said kinda. Now, I was going to bring up that little caveat because, one, I think out of the elite members that had a hand in forming AEW, I'd say the Bucks are the most likely to put over new people compared to any of the others.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yep.
Cody, no.
Nope. Kenny, nope.
No. Kenny, it's not likely.
Kenny last year, yes. Kenny this year, no.
No. Heel Kenny, no. Face Kenny, yes.
I mean, Cody did do a squash match to Brody Lee live on television and not pay-per-view.
Well,
it was because he had to go take off to do the fucking Go Big show.
But
keep it real. He had other ambitions behind that.
He didn't have to make it a squash. He could have just lost. It was a fucking squash. Brody Lee looked like Cody had no business being in the ring with him.
Yeah. And honestly,
but Brody Lee was a former WWE talent and a rather decent talent.
Shit, what does that got to do with it? You know what I mean?
Brody was bigger.
I know they were trying to get over the Dark Order, but that a squash match when you're, if you have the ego of Cody Rhodes, that would be damaging to your ego, I would think, to do on live television. But at the same time, to me, it makes me think that he will compromise, and he knows when to do business. Brody Lee was the right choice to do that with.
Yeah,
sure.
I still think
I'm not bitching about that.
Cody is the least likely to put people over, though.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he did all those open challenges and brought people from the indies on to just showcase what they could do. They're not going to win because they don't have contracts. But I disagree. I think he did really well with some of those up and coming talents during that time period.
Well, they signed Ricky Starks out of that deal. That was a good thing. I wish they would have brought in that Warhorse fucking dude.
I know. I like Warhorse, man, for sure. I like the middle.
Eddie Kingston came out of that shit too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eddie
Your other boy.
But
the motherfucker could sell a fucking explosion, though.
Well, goddamn.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Are
let's
we
get
ready
into
to
that.
talk about that bitch, or do we want to talk about the cinematic match first?
Oh, yeah, I guess we better do cinematic match first, because I have to go after we talk about the main event. I have to talk about that.
Well, let's keep the cinematic match short, because, I mean, in all honesty, like, it was like watching a fucking movie. Like, the production values were insanely high on that cinematic match.
It was, wasn't it? Camera angles and everything.
I know. I thought it was a little over.
It reminded me of Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Like darker. Even darker than that,
That's what I got from it.
That whole angle where they switched angles when Brian Cage threw Darby Allin through the wall or the door or whatever.
Yeah, through the door.
Yeah. And they switched the camera angle to the other side and just made Brian look like an even bigger beast. It was just such a cool shot, but at the same time, it's like, why did we need that shot?
It's true. It's true. I mean,
he already just threw it through a fucking door. We know
that.
We don't have. First of all, Brian Cage, I got to give a shout out to when he carried Darby in the suplex position up the steps and then positioned a trash can with his foot and then threw Darby down on top of it was beautiful.
It was impressive. Brian Cage is a monster. I mean,
that is someone that WWE really, really, really fucked up by not signing. Because Vinnie Mac wanted him to work as a powerhouse. He wanted to work more lucha style, which is his style, and Vinnie Mac wasn't having it. That's why they didn't sign him. They really fucked up with that dude because he's a fucking beast.
Weatherman, what you got to say?
Oh. Sorry. Let me get this fucking shit straightened out.
Okay.
I just hate cinematic matches because it makes the wrestling phony.
I get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I would rather have the match in the arena, even though Sting can't take it back. They can protect him, but cinematic shit, it just makes it look too fake, and it just takes away from the product. And that's just
I fucking knew they were gonna do that shit.
Yeah,
and we all knew they were gonna do it. I expected him to do the barbed wire match in the stadium, but that's a different story. But this one, it's just, from what I saw on Twitter, it was just too bullshit to me, and I just couldn't get into it.
For me, like I said, it was way too overproduced, so like that immediately took me out of it. Just how overproduced it was. And second, the part that kind of also threw me off for it, why in the fuck would you have a street fight in an abandoned factory with a wrestling ring inside of it? That right there made no goddamn sense at all. Now, if that
just put the ring in the middle of the street somewhere.
Yeah, if that ring,
considering WrestleMania 13 had a street fight, had a Chicago street fight in the middle of the ring and the Chicago Rosemont Horizon. yeah, it just didn't go over on me very well.
Yeah.
I just kind of, like I said, I didn't order this shit. I didn't watch it. I watched it through the Twitter account. But yeah, I was like, yeah, fuck this shit.
Here's
Well,
the thing.
couple things I did like about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
During the match, they used the environment a lot. Like there's
Yes.
one point where Cage picks up Darby Allin and he fucking wall walks and jumps over him and shit. I thought that was really cool. And I thought the fucking makeup that Sting and Darby had, where they were half of each of them, I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool too.
That was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that was cool. There was a lot of cool moments in the match. I enjoyed a lot of the spots overall. I agree with Will about it being overproduced, but honestly, compared to like some of the Matt Hardy shit over the years,
Mhm.
I enjoyed it better than some of the Matt Hardy shit because Matt goes over the top.
Yeah.
Where this still stayed in a certain
It was
realm
fairly
of
grounded.
reality. You know what I mean? But one of my biggest gripes, where there's kind of two: Sting throwing the bat and then realizing, shit, I threw the bat. Now I got to run around really fast and go back and get it before Ricky, realizes I'm coming.
And it fucking broke in half.
When he broke it over Brian Cage and it broke super clean. You
Clean.
could tell they did a pre-cut.
Yeah. Oh, well, another spot that made me cringe was right before the finish when he hit Brian with the shovel. Oh,
Yeah.
that was not a good.
He hit to the edge of the shovel, like into the
Yeah.
side of his neck.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it did not look good. It looked like it was painful, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was. And then they went into the finish, and overall, I was entertained by the match, but I'm not a big fan of the cinematic matches at all because once you take the crowd out of it, man, it's not the same. You're feeding off that energy, and a crowd sitting and watching it on a screen is just not the same either. You know what I mean? So
Well, while they were
Cinematic
watching
matches
it, though,
make-
and I get why they did it, because while everyone was watching the match, they were setting that ring up. They were
oh yeah,
fucking
of course,
wrapping it in
of
barbed
course.
wire. I saw some of the footage of that while they were doing it in the arena while that was playing.
Of course, but overall, it was an entertaining match. But it's like I said, I'm an old school fan, so I'm not a big fan of the cinematic shit. But overall, I was entertained. So
Like I said, I want wrestling to feel real, and it didn't. From what I saw of it, it just didn't feel real to me.
oh no, it did.
If they're going to call it a street fight, they should have called it a warehouse brawl. They're going to do it in a warehouse
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay.
and not have a ring.
Now, here's the thing. If now get with me, if we go with the warehouse brawl thing instead of calling it a street fight, if they were going to have the ring in there, make it look like it's some weird they've happened across or like through word of mouth found out where there's an underground like wrestling type of thing.
Like Def Jam Vendetta or something.
Yeah, some shit like that. Make it look like it's a fucking like haphazardly like put together indie style thing. Have ratty ass looking turnbuckles. Have the ropes be actual like nasty looking like braided rope, not clean fucking wrapped cable and real turnbuckles. Have it look
The
like it.
turnbuckles were kind of ratty, though. At one point, Ricky Starks ripped one off like it was nothing.
Well, I guarantee it's a cinematic match. That was probably basically, well, for lack of a better term, that was a stunt turnbuckle.
Uh,
It was probably just Velcroed together for the quick release and the effect.
Right.
Yeah, but a gimmick turnbuckle, if you will. But if they had made that look more like it fit with the environment instead of just making it look like they grabbed one of their training rings and parked it in a warehouse, I would have had less issue with it. But that just, like, it killed it. Like, I mean, killed it in the sense that that kind of just threw the vibe they were going for off. Good.
How did they know? How did they know where to meet up at?
Yeah, exactly.
Darby Allin skateboarding. Like the beginning of the match, I'm thinking this is a commercial for Toyota Tacoma.
Yes. Oh boy, good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, now for the biggest part of everything, the biggest, most hyped up match the AEW's really put out in a while. I mean, and damn, if they didn't hype the fuck out of it after it was announced. Kenny and Mox's exploding barbed wire death match. Now, for everyone at home, I know we mentioned it a couple weeks ago. We did a little homework, watched some older classics, you know, Funk and Cactus Jack exploding barbed wire death match, fucking Hayabusa and Onita. I know Weatherman and Corey have both seen Onita and Funk, which is also a good one. We did a little classical homework to get our shit together for this one. Make it seem like consummate professionals instead of a bunch of fucking ingrates and ne'er-do-wells that just like talking about wrestling. Now, which is
I'll tell you this. I didn't watch any of them, and here's my reasoning why. I'm fucking lazy, number one. But number two, I've never watched an exploding barbed wire death match before.
Really?
I wanted this to be my first experience watching it. So my opinions are from unbiased eyes.
Spoken like a true WWE fan.
I had seen a few before now, so I already knew kind of what to expect. So before we go into breaking down like how AEW did it, I'm going to lay out some small things with their setup that were different than the classical ones. First, instead of bare-strung barbed wire across all four turnbuckles and no ropes, AEW wrapped the ropes that were already there on three sides in the barbed wire. Second, instead of the exploding charges in the barbed wire being interlaced into it, as they should have been, they were hung a solid 6 inches out from the ropes.
Yes, they were.
And that takes away from the effect. Yes, when they hit the ropes, the charges went off. But if the charges are not attached to the ropes, that's just pyro.
Right.
Okay, that's theatrics. That's not exploding barbed wire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, second, and this is the one that I we all really want to tear into. No. Sorry, I'm going to save that for third. Second, taking a page out of the Funk playbook, the plywood sheets with the coiled barbed wire on them with the loaded charges. Those are done halfway well, with the exception of the triple hell on the floor. Secondly, if you're going to call it a triple hell, use all three.
Yeah.
Third.
Well, I think shit kind of happened.
Yeah, shit did kind of happen. Third,
kind of happened.
Don't put a fucking pyro for the triple hell a solid 1.5 feet away from where it's supposed to look like it is exploding from.
Right. Yeah. Well, it should have been more, period.
Yeah. Across the board. Like,
they ran out of fucking money after Cody's pyro. They didn't have shit left in the budget. Motherfucker blew Tony Khan's fucking pyro budget.
Oh, what it was, all the pyro for the explosion at the end of the match went with Cody's. They hit the wrong button.
They played it too safe.
They played it too safe, 100%. Now, I'm all for keeping talent safe. You don't want to have one of these old school exploding barbed wire death matches. If you watch the Cactus Jack and Terry Funk match, god damn. Yeah. Hard fucking spots, explosions going off in incredibly unsafe ways and places, like blowing out goddamn Funk's tricep.
Well, fuck. Mick Foley wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for those matches.
No, he really wouldn't. He would have
died after WCW.
Yeah, he really wouldn't. But those matches are unsafe as shit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But they took a lot of chances. Him and Funk took a lot of chances.
Yeah, like that was nasty. Now, the Onita and Hayabusa match that I watched, I could see some things that AEW took from that one. One, having the ref in full gear. Granted, they fucked that up too.
Yes, that was stupid. He looked like I did when I did asbestos removal.
He was a goddamn beekeeper. He wasn't a fucking in a flame retardant suit. He was a beekeeper.
He was trying to not get COVID.
There you go.
Bryce, the beekeeper Rumsberg.
There it is. Bryce the bee man. Okay, now. See,
I had a problem. As you know, I've had a problem with it being 3 of the 4 ring ropes being wrapped. That was my problem.
Yeah, I also didn't care much for that, but we all came to the consensus that that was just for the sake of the run-in at the end.
Which was bullshit.
I've got my thoughts on that as well, but I'm not 100% against your thoughts on that. I just have a different thought process for it. Here it is. So,
how do you process bullshit?
There's a lot of ways to process bullshit. I process yours all the time. But anyway, let me get back to the referee. If you're going to put the referee in a suit, it needs to look like a flame retardant suit. If he doesn't look like he can walk out into a goddamn volcano and be A-okay, it's not a flame retardant suit. And the Onita Hayabusa match, that motherfucker was in a full-blown, like, reflective metal insulated suit with a damn hood that had, like, the proper tinted visor on it. And the big ass
looked like he was in a bunker.
He looked like he would defuse some bombs, or he'd go wading through fucking lava to go, like, save a kitten or some shit. I don't know. But
either or, if you're going to go extreme in the suit, you know, the ending should be worth, you know, putting your ref through that bullshit.
Okay, so anyone that's doing this, I will try my damnedest to remember to put the links into the show notes for the 3 matches that I know I watched for it, and I'll try to find the one for Funk Onita as well, and put those into the description for the show when it gets posted. But every one of them, and this is the biggest thing. We'll talk a little bit about the match itself here in a moment. But every one of them, when that timer goes off, that fucking explosion at the end looks like an explosion. The entire area fills with fucking smoke. You can see the plugs from the charges landing in the ring, charred. It's not dangerous debris. It's just the, like, fucking rag plugs that they use to stuff it so it doesn't fucking fall out everywhere, all the charge. That shit is going everywhere. In the Funk Cactus Jack match, it blows up. They still have wrestling afterwards. In the Hayabusa Onita one, it blows up. They still have wrestling for just a moment afterwards. I mean, do they play off the disoriented angle because the ring blew up? Hell yeah, they do. It's great. But what happened in the fucking match from Sunday night? You had a North Carolina fireworks display, aka no explosions leave the ground.
No, they didn't take the extra time to drive to South Carolina to get the good shit.
No, they didn't drive to South Carolina or Tennessee to get the good shit.
Visit Pedro.
It was the most piss poor explosion I've ever seen. And, you know,
horrible.
Outside the fact that John hates his guts, God love him, Eddie Kingston tried to play that bitch off. Motherfucker deserves at least a Golden Globe.
Well, I'm watching this with my wife, right? And she was like, "Why are they acting like they're dead?" Like, she had no idea. She never had seen, like, the big giant explosion, in the death matches and stuff. So I was like, "Oh," I said, "It was supposed to be a big explosion. There wasn't. They have no idea there wasn't a big explosion yet because their eyes are closed. They're just, you know, he's covering Moxley, and all he knows to do is act dead afterwards, you know." And so the explosion didn't happen like it was supposed to. Moxley cut a good promo after I saw after.
Yeah, he did.
Thing aired.
And they're going to use that promo in storyline going forward. Basically, they're going to play off the fucking dud ending and say that Kenny Omega can't build a fucking bomb.
It's such an ECW move.
I know.
And well, not only that, Tony Khan, like other sites like us and shit, bunch of other sites had fucking video footage of the dud, and Tony Khan went after the other sites to take that shit down. They didn't want anybody showing that fucking content, which makes no sense to me. If you're writing in the storyline, how the fuck are you, the fan-friendliest fucking promotion, gonna force people to take that video down? Own that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now they're having to own it, So
yeah.
What can you do? And it was the biggest letdown because I quite enjoyed the match. I like the exploding barbed wire bat, or whatever.
That was cool.
Yeah, the fucking loaded bat that Gallows and Anderson brought in.
What's that?
The loaded bat that Gallows and Anderson brought in was great.
Yeah.
That was honestly the best explosion of the night. Granted, it popped off a little delayed after the hit.
Right.
Well, also the one where Kenny Omega went face first in the explosion, and Bryce Rumsberg had to get water to clean out his eyes. I thought that was a good one too.
That one seemed like legit. It really did. I liked the way it was played off. I did. That match had a lot of good parts, and as a whole, it worked for the type of match. It got a decent amount of color. It didn't go over the top. It didn't happen. It didn't.
Oh no, they got some pretty good color. I thought
they
the
did.
best color I'd seen in a while.
I honestly, when AEW does color, I can't help but compare everything to Dustin and Cody.
Well, Dustin, you can't beat that.
Albeit that was
era where you really get color, boy.
Albeit that one was an oopsie. Every match that gets color from then on out will always be compared to that one.
Right. Well, that was the closest one. It wasn't as good, but Moxley had some real good color going on for a minute. And then it kind of went away. But there for a minute, I was like, damn, he's really going all out for this. But then he just sort of quit bleeding.
Well, he drank enough at the front to thin that blood out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So he was going to run a little freely. Excuse me. But
overall, I liked the match except for what was supposed to be the big explosion.
Yeah. All things considered, it was a good match. There's some aesthetic things they need to sort out. If they were to do it again, which, in all honesty, they probably shouldn't for a good while. Okay?
Right, yeah.
Save it for something big. Do not turn this into any other gimmick match that they do. Save it.
For someone who's never seen an exploding barbed wire death match before, here are my thoughts.
Okay.
I like the fact that the rim ropes were still there and it wasn't just plain barbed wire, because it gave the wrestlers the ability to bounce off and away from the explosions a little bit quicker to keep them a little bit safer. So I was cool with that. 3 sides versus 4 sides, I don't give a shit. Doesn't matter. I was entertained. I didn't like the run-in. I didn't think the run-in was necessary with Gallows and Anderson. You knew it was going to happen, but I just didn't think it was necessary. I mean, they were putting on a hell of a match without him.
Okay. Weatherman, how about you before I dive into my portion?
That's my argument. All 4 sides should be routed in barbed wire. If anything, it should have had a door where you could get in, therefore to keep the interference out. Because that was the whole point of the barbed wire, is to keep people out.
So almost cage style, like they did with Hayabusa Onita in that one video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
sorry.
It just didn't feel the whole like I said, the whole purpose of this match was to keep people out. And then to me, the match was good until the interference happened. And after that, it really died off for me.
Okay. Corey, you were about to say something?
Yeah. It just, the whole run in. I mean, that's just to make Moxley still look super strong. That's all that was, because it took 3 guys to beat him basically.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to keep Kenny a pussy heel right now. But it's hard to after that match because they really went all out. And I agree, they didn't need the run in. I don't say he could have beat him clean. How could you beat somebody clean in a barbed wire match?
It's true.
But the one thing I did like about it being wrapped around the ropes, it made me think of like back in the day when Dusty Rhodes did the Midnight Rider and they had the barbed wire wrapped around the ring ropes. Now, they had it tighter around the ring ropes than what it was in AEW, but they didn't have explosive charges either. So. Yeah. But it brought me back to that, like seeing it done that way. Made me think of like being a kid again in a sense. But yeah, it sucked that it ended the way it ended. Other than that, the match was great. I mean, they definitely have chemistry, which as a fan of just watching the work, they really put on a great show.
Yeah, my thoughts on it also go to the run-in. Like, I enjoyed the whole match outside of some aesthetic and setup issues, which I've already griped about earlier on. There are things they should have done to make it look more like the classic, and they still could have kept it safe even by doing these things.
Right.
But with the run-in, here's the thing. It happened too early. Way too early. Because it just felt like they were really, really milking the clock after the first little bit. Yeah, once he pinned him, got the 3, I was like, that's too fucking early. You've still got 6 minutes before that thing fucking blows up.
Right.
6 fucking minutes. That's dead time.
That's somebody at the gorilla position who fucked up there.
Yeah, that was a 100% a fuck up. I mean, they tried to play it off as best they could, but no, you're not going to play off fucking 6 minutes and have any sort of real tension anymore. It's done. It's gone. You've lost it.
Right.
It needed to be somewhere top end 2 minutes, minute and a half at the most.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That would have been enough time for Don Callis to run over there, fucking do his weird Don Callis shit, like get the fuck out of the ring, blah, 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 blah. Have them kind of bobble around a little bit, and then have Kingston run in with like 15, 20 seconds to go and try to get Moxley up and really make the drop over cover believable if the explosion had gone off the way it should have, instead of, some fucking sparklers.
Well, here's the thing. Does AEW know what considered as Titan Time? They probably don't.
Right.
There's no such, Titan Time is whatever they feel like it's. Yeah. So, like in the Royal Rumble, if they're running short on time, 60 seconds can be 45 seconds. So it's called Titan Time. It's 45 seconds here, 60 seconds there, and 30 seconds here. It's just whatever they feel like it be.
You adjust
the pinfall. They pretty much have it set on the screen. When they do the pinfall, you set that clock for 2 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, the announcers were calling it more or less the right time the whole time. You heard fucking Shivani change his number. He was like, there's like 10 minutes to go. 6.5 minutes to go. I was just like, okay. Okay.
Excalibur was the only one that sold the whole explosion. Everybody was like, this is fucking stupid.
It's just like, you could tell they were running off their pre-scripted thing, like expecting the explosion to be something, and then it went off like a fucking fart in church. And fuck, that ruined everything for me. I was just like, God damn. And I can't say it enough. It's like,
if you want to know what a fart in church is like, just watch the end of this match. That is a fart in church.
It gets everyone's attention in all the wrong ways. I really hope they can parlay that into something good, but I mean, fuck.
They're supposed to write it in the storyline that Kenny can't build bombs, so we'll see.
We shall see how that works out, because, I mean, if he built the triple hell outside, then he damn sure didn't know where to put the charges, so it makes sense. So, follow-ups for Dynamite this week. 1, we already heard it right there. John says they're tying it in.
I didn't like the triple L outside because the whole point of the barbed wire death match is to keep you in the ring. It's like a cage. The triple L outside was kind of pointless.
I mean, granted, Funk and Cactus Jack, they went outside a couple times.
Oh, Funk and Sabu, hands down, favorite of all time.
Ooh.
Like Sabu ripping his bicep, super gluing it after the show. That finish where he wraps himself and he wraps Terry in barbed wire, wraps himself, jumps, crushes through a leg drops him through a table, and then they have to literally come out and cut him apart. Like I thought that was like that's how you put over a barbed wire match, and I don't think that's ever been.
It will never be done again because they could have died.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it special. That's what makes the old shit special.
It really does.
It was dangerous. Yeah,
to me, the old shit was more dangerous. But as I got older and I watched the old shit, it's just like, yeah, this is too phony now. It was appealing as a kid, but now that I'm older, it's like, no.
Oh man, that was still one of my favorite matches to watch. And like I said, back then they were kind of like they were rock stars. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole rock star. What you thought like Motley Crue and shit. That they couldn't touch pro wrestlers. The stories on pro wrestlers outdo.
It still felt real long ago, though. That's the thing. It still felt real.
Yeah. It was cheesy and phony, but it felt real at the same time. They had that beautiful balance that is lacking a lot of times now.
For sure.
Say what?
I said for sure. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't tell. It's like I half heard it. I wanted to make sure I heard it right.
He said for sure, and then I farted.
So there it is. That's what it was. John's fart made it sound like a new word. For sure.
Short.
So, is there anything coming up tomorrow night that's super noteworthy?
I talked about the women's triple threat match.
Yeah.
Let's see if they got anything else.
We talked about Kenny not being able to make bombs, possibly happening tomorrow night. If they'd have to parlay that.
There's going to be an inner circle war.
I got some fucking breaking news. Kenny Omega is booked in a title match at Impact Wrestling Rebellion.
Kenny's gonna get his belt collector thing going finally.
So they're gonna combine the Impact World Title and the TNA World Title when Moose and Rich Swann have their match.
So they're gonna unify the two old belts.
They're gonna unify the two belts at Sacrifice this Saturday. And the winner of that match will face Kenny Omega at Rebellion on April 24th in a title match. That means the Impact World title and AEW title will soon be owned by the same man. This could be very interesting.
It's going to be Kenny. Plain and simple. We're going to say it now. There's no way it won't be because Don Callis won't allow it. And secondly, because it'll ruin the fucking angle.
For sure.
What Weatherman's saying before the breaking news, though, the Inner Circle War Council and the way MJF sounded in his interview during the show after their tag match, I feel like this is when MJF's going to take over the Inner Circle. This is when it's going to start happening.
They've already announced that Chris Jericho is going to be a permanent addition to the announce team on Wednesday nights. So when that takes place, maybe that's going to be part of the storyline. MJF takes over the Inner Circle, and Jericho goes to commentary.
Yeah, I mean, I see it happening just because of the way MJF delivered everything he said Sunday night during that interview. He's like,
and then we're going to hear from Christian Cage tomorrow night too.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I see happening. If it doesn't happen immediately, that's going to plant the seed for it to fully mature later on. I guarantee it's going to happen before Double or Nothing because Double or Nothing's in fucking May, so it'll happen before then.
I'm looking for the card for tomorrow night. I'm not seeing it.
We don't need to sweat the card too much. We hit some of the big high notes because, I mean, honestly, depending on how edits go, like predictions for tomorrow night are always kind of dicey. It's better just to hit the high notes like we did right then.
Want to give a shout out to Big Swole, who has been out with issues with her Crohn's disease.
Oh, so that's what it is.
Yeah, she's been having issues with her Crohn's disease.
Crohn's is a
flaring up
motherfucker.
and
I know
stuff.
some people that have had it, and So, big shout to Big Swole. Even though she a little green, I have high hopes for her.
Mm-hmm.
And
what'd they say? There was talks of fucking Maki Ito joining the Dark Order.
that'd be a weird combo. I could see it working, but it'd be a weird combo. I don't know
It
how that-
happened during being the Elite this week. The Dark Order shown bantering backstage. They were discussing how Anna Jay can't be replaced. He tried yelling at Eva Ono and Colt Cabana. It just wasn't the same. And then Maki Ito showed up and says, "Surprise, motherfuckers." And she was wearing what looks to be just her normal like kind of schoolgirl outfit, but darker, black and white. So maybe not. We'll see. I mean, she made mention of it before she came stateside that she wanted to join.
So just one last thing from Sunday night, and because you mentioned Dark Order, and it reminded me after the big money match with Matt and Paige, which was a solid match. It was pretty good. Wasn't one of the highlights of the evening. It was just good. Do we think Paige is finally going to kind of lean more into the Dark Order now?
Well, they had their big old group hug.
He actually hugged back and he accepted some beers.
Yep.
It's more likely now.
It's a good sign.
It's a good sign. That's a good sign. It could happen. But anything else for the good of the group? I know we're getting close to that time, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And Ethan Page will be on. Okay, here it is. Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky.
Oh, yeah.
For the TNT title matches tomorrow.
Darby's keeping it.
Matt Jackson versus Phoenix.
I think Phoenix will go over.
And then they just added Ethan Page versus Lee Johnson.
Ethan Page is definitely going to win that one.
And then we got the Inner Circle War Council. Christian will speak. Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, Maki Ito versus Shida, Mizunami, and Thunder Rosa.
Shida and company are going to win.
But that's the lineup for tomorrow night.
Yeah. So far, I mean, it has potential as long as they do it right, which is always a roll of the dice with AEW. Like, tomorrow night has potential. I'll watch it probably Thursday or Friday, but it'll still be pretty good.
I expect the worst.
I know. That's why we love you, because you keep us grounded. You keep us grounded, Weatherman. That's why we love it.
I just want to say rest in peace to Jim Crockett Jr. And I'm actually going to go to Charlotte Sunday this week and pay my respects to the old Crockett office.
Yeah, I'd heard about poor Jim.
Yep. R.I.P. Jim Crockett Jr.
He just did that interview too with Conrad Thompson on ad-free shows. So I haven't watched it yet, but I definitely am probably gonna give that a listen.
It's gonna hit different.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
Turns out the offices in Charlotte are still there. They're just a blood bank now, I think, but you can still leave like flowers or something. I'm thinking about taking some flowers down there in a card and just leaving it there for the old Crockett office. I think it's 327 Briarview Road in Charlotte.
Is that out on the edge of the city?
No, it's on South End.
Okay. Ooh, South Charlotte. Dang.
It's the same site where they broke Dusty's arm. And if you watch Cornette's podcast, you'll learn how really Crockett controlled Charlotte for a long time. Like if they hadn't sold to TBS, they'd probably still be around today. And like, just a fun fact for everybody, I meant to mention earlier, the WWF did not have a stronghold in this area like where we live in the Carolinas.
Oh, no, not at all.
Absolutely not.
I'll give you an example. in 1985 or 86, they ran Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant as the main event in the Greensboro Coliseum. Take a guess how many people came to that show.
700.
800, I think, was the number that came to that show in the Coliseum.
Damn.
And in 89, they tried to they actually put Tully Arn as the main event in that card for a house show at Greensboro, and they still didn't draw about 1,100 people. Like, that's how strong Crockett held in this territory. I'm a little too sure I can't really go into it, but like, people don't really realize how strong Crockett's product was in the Carolinas. Like, WWF, that's one thing that pissed off Vince McMahon more than anything, was that he could not get a stronghold in the Carolinas because the Crockett promotions held such a stronghold in this area. And like, if TBS had bought out and we hadn't had the bullshit from the 90s, Crockett would have, if they would have stayed a Southern territory, like I said, Cornette went more in depth into it in his podcast this week, but Crockett could have stayed until the late 90s as at least a good number 2 to Vince McMahon in wrestling at the time.
There are ways they could have done it to make that whole promotion like do a little bit better. I think they kind of fucked up, but you know
what I learned through Cornette was Jim Crockett Jr. did not want to go national. He was talked into it by people outside.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to stay a Southern territory, and it's a very interesting what if story. What would have transpired? Cornette said he would have left and went to the WWF in 92. There had never been spoken about. He would have been pretty much would have been the head booker of the NWA in the 1990s if Crockett would have never sold.
Who knows how that could have changed the wrestling landscape? But I mean, all things considered, you know, it went the way it did.
That's a whole show in itself. Or they're trying to that what if.
Yeah, I think we could probably dive into that at some point. We'll have to do some solid research. You already got 90% of it done, but I'll have to definitely dig into it because I would like to dig into that myself. But
that was very interesting that in Greensboro in 1985-86, Hulk and Andre could not sell at the Coliseum. They could only pull 1,000 people.
That is wild.
That's how strong of influence Crockett had on North Carolina and South Carolina.
That's the weird thing about the Carolinas. Anyone from there is oddly diehard about fucking anything that is like solely related to that state.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's weird. Weird. Especially when it comes to wrestling. You're guaranteed to have some sort of weird soft spot for Ric Flair, even though he's from Minnesota originally. It's a guarantee that you're going to have it. But that's besides the point. Anyway, Johnny Boy, take us out.
Want to thank everyone once again for joining us with Post to Post Wrestling, your favorite wrestling podcast. We have been the Weatherman, one half of the Brothers of Discussion. Will want to thank our special guest and birthday boy, Corey Chappell. What's your name again? No, I'm fucking with you. Well, thank you once again for hanging out with us. I'm your boy, Drummer John. Come back next week. Want to give a big, super fucking big shout out to Falcon from And the Polar with Corey. The guys are fucking awesome. Check them out. Check them out anywhere you listen to podcasts. Check out their music on Apple Music, Spotify, all that shit. If you're not listening to them or watching their fucking YouTube videos, you're fucking up. Because they're awesome. Every fucking one of them. Falcon makes us sound like we know what the fuck we're talking about. It's wonderful. If you hear the outtakes of this show, you'd be like, these guys are fucking, I almost used the R word, and you know what I'm talking about. It starts with R, ends with a Ted. That's what we normally sound like before Falcon gets a hold of us. So big thanks to Falcon. Thank you guys again for being here and listening, and we'll talk to you next week. We're out.
Later, everybody.
Thanks, fellas.
Bye.
See you.
Later.
All right, we're off the air. So, yeah, I sold over